Good afternoon, I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot Media. The Zones of Special Operations Act is now in effect. News came last night that Information Minister Senator Royal Reid received a copy of the Jamaica Gazette yesterday afternoon, indicating that the legislation is in place. It was tabled in the House of Representatives on March 21 and passed in the Senate on July 7 after 13 amendments. The law gives the Prime Minister, on the advice of the National Security Council, the authority to declare any high-crime area of Jamaica a zone for special security operations and community development measures. The law is part of a national security strategy that targets strategic subject areas: violence and crime, public order, corruption, community safety, territorial integrity, crisis response and resilience. The other areas are justice, cyber defense, critical infrastructure protection and economic security. Meanwhile, Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett believes that creating the Zone of Special Operations will help to solve the problem of crime in Jamaica. He was speaking at the JLP Area Council 4 meeting recently in Montego Bay, St. James. He says the Zone of Special Operations will in fact help to transform the lives of people, making Jamaica a better place.
Alignment of ideas and resources that is going to now impact a new and exciting security strategy like Jamaica has never seen before. And I'm not the minister, but we are in one team. And what he knows, we know. And I can tell you that you are going to see a program emerging that will respond not in a knee-jerk way, not in response to any panic, but a structured and organized program to deal with the issues of crime and violence in our country.
Like other government officials, Mr. Bartlett has argued that the rights of Jamaican citizens will not be ignored in the Zone of Special Operations. The Transport Ministry is insisting that there will be no immediate rollback of toll rates on the North-South Highway. In a statement late last night, Transport Minister Mike Henry said he will take April's adjustment to the toll rates following the coin shortage into consideration when he receives the application from the toll road operators to vary the existing rates. Mr. Henry said the variation will begin at the rates prior to the adjustment in April. Under the concession agreement with the government, the toll road operators can apply for a variation of rates in September each year. Residents from Baxter's Mountain and Otter Bay in St. Mary are demanding answers from the National Works Agency, the NWA, about why a bridge in their community is still in a state of disrepair. We have more in this report from TVJ's Gillian Pearson.
The residents say the bridge has been in a deplorable condition for years without any action from the NWA. They need the bridge to be fixed as it is the only way to access their community.
No fire truck can come across this bridge, no. No water truck can come across this bridge. No ambulance, no can't come across this bridge. You understand? Only foot we can use and probably liquor taxi can come and chew. No one then. You understand? Every day them a promise a bridge, and no bridge. You understand? We really need a bridge.
What must we do? We can't stay up here and dead for hungry. We have to go on Akha Bay. And we can't walk on Akha Bay and come back with the food on our head. So taxis have to come around here. So you can't put up a road close sign and say we're traveling over it at our own risk. So they need to answer us.
We need the bridge. This bridge cannot suffice no longer. We have two. I have my 2 grandchildren who dropped through here. They could have died, and other people. Even one day I was coming down here and slide on the bridge because it was wet. I could have dropped in the river.
When the rain falls, the river comes down heavily, which threatens the bridge support. Residents fear that if there is a hurricane, the bridge may collapse, cutting off the community.
Because when this river come down, they come down with everything.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. The bridge can go down anytime soon.
Member of Parliament for South East St. Mary, Dr. Winston Green, says there were plans to fix it, but years have passed since the promise was made. He adds that last year the NWA examined the bridge and the residents were promised a new bridge.
You might see the sign out there that bridge is closed, right? They have decommissioned the bridge because of the condition, but they were promised a bridge in roughly about 6 to 8 weeks because this is a one-way in, one-way out community. Up until now, it is going months, it is going into 1 year now, and there's no sign of the bridge.
The MP says that since then, he has been following up with the responsible minister. However, there is no concrete date when the bridge will be repaired. Jeline Pearson, TVJ News.
The Montego Bay business community in St. James was thrown into mourning when prominent 52-year-old businessman Winston Shue was murdered yesterday afternoon. Mr. Shue of Westgate Hills was killed gangland style on Miriam Way in downtown Montego Bay. Shortly before 2 o'clock, Mr. Shue came out of his vehicle in front of his business place when he was attacked by an unknown assailant who fired several shots. The killer then took Mr. Shue's licensed firearm and fled. A police patrol which responded to the gunfire rushed Mr. Shue to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, but he was already dead. Mr. Shue's death brings to 6 the number of persons killed in Montego Bay over the past 72 hours. 148 persons have been murdered in St. James since the start of the year. A crash in Clarendon along the Sandy Bay Main Road on Tuesday night has left 1 man dead, residents in shock and the survivor giving thanks. One of the persons involved in the crash is claiming the motorcycle involved was poorly lit.
An accident reconstruction team trying to put the pieces together as to what transpired in a motor vehicle crash along the Sandy Bay Main Road in Clarendon. It happened about 7 o'clock Tuesday evening and involved a Toyota Corolla taxi and a motorbike. The crash left 1 man dead and a taxi operator nursing injuries. The survivor gave an account.
Coming back Sandy Bay to the coffee shop area, I noticed a hear boom, boom, boom sound, but I can't say anything. And by the time I look, it is a bike without no light, shot from around a vehicle. You understand? I'm coming straight towards me, right? So I try to put my car as near to the white line as possible. You understand? And boom! You know, the bike was collide in my right hand side of my vehicle.
Lucky to be alive, Mr. Francis says what he saw next was frightening.
When I look in the car, I see a hand and I started getting shocked and I check it was my hand. Right? But when time I look, I notice I slap me to one.
So too this rider who arrived moments later.
I saw the man lay down here. I go up by the car where he crashing. I saw one of his hand in the car, one of his feet alongside the bike. I just can't believe.
This crash brings the number of fatalities in Clarendon to 14 since the start of the year, with motorbikes accounting for 3. Owen McIntosh says as a motorcycle driver, this crash has left him worried.
Kind of scared because, as you can see, I'm a gas man. I deliver gas all boat, I ride all boat. And, you know, if you know, say some of the carmen them not really look out for us. I beg them, please, just look out for the rider them. I understand, because all we are rider, all we are one. We're up on the road, we have a youth and things, see them where.
The dead man has not yet been identified. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid is again pointing out that students on the PATH program will receive more support from the government. Speaking at yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing, Mr. Reid said that all students on PATH will now receive lunch 5 days per week. The increased benefits will cost $4.3 billion.
Also this year, for the first time, we're providing literature books for students on the PATH program and wards of the state, starting with grades 7, 10, and 11. Cost is approximately $117 million. Also, for the first time this year, government is providing free personal insurance for all students on PATH and wards of the state for primary and secondary schools.
The government plans to provide transportation for PATH students, particularly in rural areas where the rate of absenteeism is about 20%.
And so we are piloting, along with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security and Ministry of Transport, to provide $200 million this year to do a pilot in 8 parishes.
Mr. Reid says this program will start in 2018. Over 2,000 youths across the country will be able to pick up jobs through the Ministry of Local Government Summer Program. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie made that disclosure at a function in Portmore, St. Catherine yesterday. Mr. McKenzie says the program will be led by the municipal corporation in each parish. It's expected to last for 2 weeks.
Each division, each council will make a representation for 10 names from the respective divisions, and they will be submitted into the municipal corporation, which will assign all the persons on the project to the respective areas that they'll be working in. And it is something that we hope will assist a lot of those who we intend to assist in covering back-to-school expense and other such expenses.
Despite 2 Royal Caribbean cruise liners withdrawing their services from Jamaica, Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says the tourism sector is growing significantly. At yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing at the Jamaica House, Minister Bartlett said that in the last 6 months, Jamaica has already seen over 2 million visitors.
We earned during that first 6 months $1.46 billion US, a remarkable 7.5% increase over last year.
Mr. Bartlett argued that at the rate tourism is growing, there will be a higher demand for Jamaican goods and services.
It says that there is no greater demand for more agricultural supplies, more food, more fresh fruits and vegetables, more nectars, more juices, more cheese and butter. There is demand for more soap and more oils.
According to Mr. Bartlett, the government wants to develop a strategy to enable a constant revenue flow from tourism. The new Akha Village in Portmore, St. Catherine is expected to increase tourism activities in the area. Member of Parliament for St. Catherine East Central, Alanda Terrelong, made that declaration at the launch of the Akha Village yesterday. Mr. Terrelong is hoping that the Akha Village will be a convenient market for motorists in and around Portmore.
What this new Akha Village does is that it provides persons, especially with the new highway, because persons are no longer driving through Fatespen, etc. This is now the one stop, and we want to market this product to the rest of Jamaica. Before you hit the highway to head down to the north coast, stop right here at Akha Village. Come and get your ackee, get your roast breadfruit, get your roast yam, get your refreshments, because this is what the wonderful people and the vendors of Portmore have to offer.
And we go now to news overseas. Arizona Republican Senator John McCain has been diagnosed with brain cancer. We go to the CNN for more.
Median survival, how they term it, is about 14 months. There's a small group of a small percentage of people who actually will live 5 years or more, but it's a tough diagnosis. This is an aggressive form of brain cancer. It comes from the brain itself as opposed to starting somewhere else in the body and spreading to the brain. Senator McCain and his family are just hearing this news over the last couple of days, so they're still absorbing it and determining sort of how they're going to proceed. Most immediately, he just had this operation not even a week ago, this past Friday, so he's still in the recovery mode from that. And the doctors I talked to say, despite the fact that he thought he'd return to work in a week, it's possible, but typically recovery is at least 2 to 3 weeks. But more to the point, typically radiation and chemotherapy are going to be necessary treatments. Even if you remove all of the tumor, it was located in the left frontal part of his brain. Even if you remove all of it, you have to assume there are some microscopic remnants, so chemotherapy and radiation. But that radiation, for example, can't really begin until he is fully healed from this operation. That's 3 to 4 weeks. So a couple weeks of recovery, and then maybe a week or so after that, the additional therapy is likely to start.
And we go now to sports. Jamaica's Reggae Boys will seek to go one step further at the CONCACAF Gold Cup when they face Canada in the third quarterfinal today at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, starting at 6:30 p.m. Jamaica time. The Theodore Whitmore coached unit ended their Group C campaign in the preliminary round unbeaten with 1 victory and 2 drawn results. There is one major injury worry in the Jamaican camp at this time, with defensive midfielder O'Neal Fisher nursing a right hamstring strain. He's rated doubtful for today's encounter. Meanwhile, captain of the team, goalkeeper Andre Blake, says the players are confident of beating Canada.
We have no doubt. We believe in everybody here, and we know what everyone is capable of doing. So we know that once we go out there and we bring our A game and everybody play to the best of their ability and have the fighting spirit, then we have what it takes, you know. But as I said before, Canada is a very good team. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely possible.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.